See me, type number one down below. And if you're watching this on live right now, type live down below. Or if you're watching this at a later time, sometime on the replay, type replay down below so I know when you saw this and when you got this information. So today we're doing a Q&A. So in any way that I can help you reach your health, fitness, any kind of fitness related goals you have for 2023, type your questions down below in the comment box. I'll see them on my screen right here, and I'll try to get to as many people as I possibly can so I can provide you with as much value as I possibly can. So if you can hear me and most importantly, see me, type number one down below in the comments. And let me know what kind of questions you have. If there's specific weight loss questions, if there may be goal setting questions, whatever it may be, whatever you're struggling with right now, just type it below in the comments. I'll try to get back to as many people as I possibly can. What's up, Bernadette? What's up, Pam? Say what's up, Alex, down below in the comments. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. Any kind of questions. The feed may be a little bit slow from a little delay, but I still see everybody's questions down below in the comments. I would just love to help out as many people as I possibly can that are trying to maybe kickstart their 2023, in the easiest way possible. What's going on? Hopefully this camera is not as blurry as it was last time. I think I fixed a few things so that it works much better this time. Awesome. I think everybody can hear me and see me. Oh, let's see what kind of questions we have today. Is fasting good for weight loss? This is a pretty good question. I probably get this multiple times per week. So I personally did fasting, intermittent fasting to be more specific, which is essentially you have an eating window about 8 hours, usually, typically, and you eat during this time period, and you don't eat between, let's say it's 12 to 8 p.m., which is when your eating window is, and you don't eat anything before 12 and after 8. So there have been many studies done that have shown that a regular calorie deficit is not anymore, or sorry, fasting is not better than a regular calorie deficit. However, I've personally done intermittent fasting for many years previously, and I liked it primarily for the reasons that it makes reaching a calorie deficit easier, because here's what happens in reality. Let's say that you don't have any kind of eating window, right? You kind of eat how you want, so you try to follow a calorie deficit. What will happen sometimes is maybe after dinner, right, when you had your last meal, you end up having a little snack, and you don't record the snack, you don't track it, and the snack ends up being a few hundred calories. Maybe in the morning you have a little snack with your coffee and tea, and that ends up being a few hundred calories. That's a bunch of 100 calories during the course of a day. Now, if the same habit keeps persisting day after day throughout the week, that may be a few thousand extra calories that you consume over the course of a week. However, if you add a time variant, a time factor into your calorie deficit, where you give yourself specific time periods where you cannot allow yourself to eat. So instead of having a little snack after dinner or before breakfast, you go from having a little bit to having absolutely nothing. That ends up making your entire calorie consumption during the entire week a lot less. So it helps you stay in the calorie deficit a lot easier. So fasting is not for everyone, but if you don't like breakfast, like I personally don't really enjoy breakfast too much, it may help you because it makes you reaching your calorie deficit a bit easier. And if you start your day, super early, like maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe intermittent fasting is not the best choice for you, because you have to eat something, because you're going to be super hungry by the time 12 o'clock rolls around. So intermittent fasting doesn't help any more than a regular calorie deficit, but it may help you reach your calorie deficit just a little bit easier. Hopefully this explains. If you have any more questions about this or anything else, let me know down below. What other questions do we have? What do I recommend for strong chocolate cravings? Dark chocolate's pretty good. You can eat whatever chocolate you want to eat, as long as you're being accountable with it, as long as you're tracking it and you're staying within your caloric requirements. There's sugar-free chocolate options nowadays, like plenty of them, so you can definitely try to get those if you want to. But cravings usually happen at times when you either eliminate certain foods, or when you are just not eating as much as you should be eating. That's where cravings start to happen. So if you're under eating by a lot, let's say you're eating, I don't know, 1,200 calories per day, and you would potentially lose weight on 2,200 calories. Like, why are you in such a huge deficit? So if you're under eating by a lot, as well as if you're completely eliminating food, not restricting food, eliminating food, there's a big difference, right? So if you're eliminating chocolate for an extended period of time, you may want to eat chocolate more and more, because as human beings, the more that we restrict certain things or eliminate rather certain things, the more we kind of want those things because we feel like we can't have it. And if you can't have certain foods that you enjoy, you're gonna want it even more. So have it in moderation, choose lower calorie options, and definitely don't think that you can't have it while trying to lose weight. I eat chocolate, multiple times a week, and I'm absolutely fine because I'm accountable with what I'm eating, most importantly. What's up, Laura? You're starting a new year minus 128 pounds. That's incredible. Congratulations. Hi from Switzerland. Holy crap, Switzerland. Let me know how the weather is in Switzerland. I have always wanted to go there. I've never been, but it's one of my dream destinations. Let's see. Could you still lose weight if you go over unsaturated fats and sugars? Absolutely. Yeah, calories are the most important things. 100%. Good afternoon, Alex. Trying to work off the holiday weight. So during the holidays, you will likely put on some weight or have put on some weight. I know I have. So most of the weight that we gain during the holidays usually is not actual fat mass. It is just water weight. It's just mass. It's not just fat, because in order to put on 1 single pound of actual fat, you have to go over your maintenance calories by about 3,500. So if you've gained 10 pounds over the course of like 4 days of holiday eating, that'll be an excess of 35,000 calories. In reality, who's going to overly consume 35,000 calories in a few days? Nobody, but a lot of people will maybe go over by 3,000 calories, maybe 5,000. And a lot of that weight will come from water, because carbohydrates will hold on to water. Sodium makes you cause water retention. So a lot of this weight, you will find that once you go back to your regular eating patterns, a lot of this temporary weight gain will just drop back down almost immediately. For example, I gained like 10 pounds over the course of a couple of days on vacation, but in 3 or 4 days, or sorry, holidays, but in the course of 3, 4 days, I dropped down like 6, 7 pounds, because most of it was water from sodium and excess carbs that I typically don't eat. So put that into perspective. So if you want to get back to your regular, eating patterns, or get back to your normal weight, rather just go back to your regular eating patterns. You'll be absolutely fine. Don't overly restrict yourself, because you don't want to be caught up in the cycle of overconsumption followed by over restriction. You're going to feel mentally drained, and you're going to feel like, you're stuck in the same place, you know? And if you have some 2023 goals and you want to actually get back on track, and you want to make this be actually sustainable for you, you want to lose weight, get some energy back, and feel just your best, especially by the time summer comes around, type 2023 down below, or message me the words 2023. If you're watching this on a platform where you can't message me, go to the link in my bio, click on that, fill out the form, and I'll get back to you. Let's see. You're 310 pounds and it's difficult to lose weight. What should you do? If you're very overweight, so 310 pounds, for me, being taller versus somebody else who's shorter, it's going to be a huge difference, right? So I don't know exactly what your physical condition is as far as you being 310 pounds. But if you're very overweight, generally the easiest thing to do is to track your food. It takes no physical efforts. I mean, very minimal. You got to just plug in some numbers. Even if you have no calorie goals in mind that you want to aim for, simply log in your food, because you will see what you're eating versus how much nutrition is in it. That will help you make better choices going forward. So just track your food. Don't worry about calories. Don't worry about protein, carbs, whatever. Just track your food, and you will see exactly what you're eating versus how much nutrition is in it. It will help you make better choices as a result going forward. The second thing you can do is just increase your water consumption. It's very easy to get a glass, get one thing of a jug of water, and just drink more water. Go outside and do 10 minutes of walking. I'm not saying be crazy, sweating profusely. Just walk around for 5, 10 minutes, maybe longer if you want to, but get some activity in. Don't worry about workouts, and you can do them later on once you feel comfortable, but just walk around. Don't worry about running or jogging. Just go for a walk and keep it simple. Let's see. You've been involved in fitness for 20 years, and you've always done stair climber or running for cardio. Okay, so you've been involved in fitness and in fitness for 20 years and you've always done stair climbers or running for cardio, and you saw my videos on walking, thank you for watching, and you started to walk a few months ago, it changed the way you do cardio and find yourself easily going on walks and enjoying cardio instead of dreading it. I appreciate you sharing that. And this is really important because the biggest factor that people don't realize in regards to cardio, it's not the caloric burn of it. Of course, you burn calories doing cardio, but if you dread doing cardio, if you don't look forward to it, if you hate every single second of it, realistically, what is the likelihood of you doing it consistently on a consistent basis for weeks and months on end? For some people, they may just put up with it and do it. But for the vast majority of people, especially overweight or obese individuals, if you hate every second of it, if you don't look forward to doing it, you will not do it on a consistent basis. So even though running may burn 2, 3 times the amount of calories that walking does for the same time that you're doing it, the likelihood of you running every single day is very, very low for most people, right? There's outliers everywhere. From the vast majority of overweight or obese individuals, the consistency is not going to be there. However, if the cardio you're doing isn't that intense, right? It's not as complex. You're not sweating every second by running or jogging, then you might look forward to it. You might actually enjoy doing it because it's not so crazy. It doesn't, throw you into the fire and or into the deep end and hopefully you swim. So look into the consistency factor of the things you're doing, including the workouts. If you're doing some kind of a crazy workout somebody told you have to do, but you don't like it, I mean, you're not going to be doing it for a very long period of time. Like the best exercises and the workouts are the ones that you enjoy, that are pretty effective, and the ones that you can see yourself doing for a very long period of time and get better at them. That's the best things for the individual. It's not what burns the most calories. It's never like that. And I appreciate you sharing that. How do you calculate a calorie deficit? You can go to Google, type in calorie deficit calculator. You're going to find probably 100 different calculators out there, and just plug in your information. The number is going to be not perfect to be good enough, but that's good enough to get you going and to get you going into the right direction. Any more questions? Let me know down below. I'm trying to get back to as many people as I possibly can. Lifting weights better than cardio for weight loss? It's a component of being physically fit. Neither are better. You can lose weight without doing cardio. You can lose weight without working out. You can lose weight without doing cardio and working out, because the most important thing is a net calorie deficit. So if you're taking in less energy than you're putting out, you will lose weight. Now, if you want to use cardio to help you with the caloric expenditure a little bit, maybe you want to work out a bit so you can maybe put on some muscle so that your body, uses more calories to sustain its weight, that's definitely going to help. You burn some calories working out, but not nearly. Your time is better invested in nutrition, because you can burn 200 calories in cardio, but if you overconsume 200 calories because you had a tablespoon of peanut butter that you didn't think twice about, is going to equate itself out, right? So you want to make sure that your nutrition is dialed in as best as possible. Need help with belly? The best thing for belly fat loss is a calorie deficit. Is 7,000 steps enough? Depends. I mean, it sounds like it's enough. I mean, 7,000 is not a little amount. As long as you're going in the direction that you want to go into, I would assume it's weight loss. You got to look at your progress versus what you're doing, including your steps and your nutrition, to see if it's getting you to where you want to go. If you're not losing weight on 7,000 steps, the first thing I would do is, instead of increasing your steps, I will look at how consistent you are with the calories that you think you're consuming. If you're tracking your steps, but not your nutrition, and you're not seeing results, your efforts are better spent on not increasing your activity, but increasing the consistency of your nutritional accountability. That will always, or usually always, get you to see better and faster results. Hi from Sweden. What's going on? What happens if you go out to eat and you can't find a restaurant on MyFitnessPal for the calories? This is a very common question. And if you're going out to eat and you're trying to stay accountable with your nutrition and you can't find the exact restaurant, keep it simple. Let's say you're having chicken wings, right? I love chicken wings. So you have 6 wings. They're all drumsticks, because drumsticks are the best. It's not an argument, it's a fact. And you have you're going to a restaurant, but that restaurant isn't on MyFitnessPal, just find a random restaurant that's already plugged into MyFitnessPal. Choose 6 drumsticks, right? I would choose the higher calorie option. So if you have like 5 choices of each drumstick being 150 calories, one is 175, and one is 180, I would pick the higher calorie option, being the 180, 6 servings, and be done with it. It's not going to be accurate. It's not super specific, but it's good enough to keep you on the right track. Don't worry about being perfect if you're guesstimating. If you have Diet Coke every day, how bad is it? It's not bad at all. I have 2 Cokes or 2 Diet Cokes. Coke Zeros every day, usually every day. When you hear studies or people talking about aspartame or Diet Coke being bad for you, any kind of negative results that studies have shown to be a fact is on rats. So studies done on rats, hyperdosed, right? So you're not a rat and you're not being hyperdosed aspartame. This would be similar to like you drinking a oil tanker's worth of Diet Coke every single day. It's not going to happen. You can take a few Advils and you will croak, right? It's if you go too far in either direction, it's not a good thing. But if you stay balanced, if you don't overdo it, you'll be absolutely fine. Is it healthy when you're skinny, but try to work out and stay in shape and get abs? If you're skinny, trying to work out and get abs, you want to be in at least a calorie maintenance. Of course, it's healthy. If you're working out, in any case, it's healthy. Just don't overdo it. What's up, Lewis? How many days a week do you lift if you have to do each body part twice? You can do 2 days a week. You can do 2 full body days every week. You can do, if you're doing 3 workouts a week, you can do upper body day, followed by lower body day, followed by a full body workout. You can do push, pull, legs, and maybe a full body workout for 4 days a week. There's different options you can do. No split is the best. As long as you're targeting each muscle group about twice a week and you're putting in good amount of intensity and you're factoring in progressive overload, you'll be absolutely fine. Progressive overload is just essentially just you getting better and stronger at the specific exercises that you're doing. That is it. Which is why you don't want to keep changing up your workouts or exercises rather every single workout because you're trying to feel as sore as possible. Soreness is not an indicator of growing muscle or getting stronger. It's just a new stimulus, right? But you want to actually grow muscle and get stronger by doing the same exercises long enough so you can actually get as strong as possible at those exercises. And if you ask the most in shape people in the world, whether they're just in shape or super, muscular, they will tell you that they do the same exercises most of the time. Only rarely do they ever change up or add in some new kind of exercises. Most of these people do the same exercises very, very consistently for at least 12 to 16 weeks in a row. What's up, Marilyn? You found my channel and beyond thankful for all that I do. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Thank you. You've been in the gym every day, ditched the soda, and you're planning to walk to work instead of driving. That's important. I call these, people look at the big step goal like 8,000 or 10,000 and they think that, oh, it's such a big goal, I will never reach 10,000 steps in a day. And what I do to kind of chip away at that big step, I call them micro walks. You can call them whatever you want to call them. Micro walks, what are they? If you have 5 or 10 minutes spare throughout the day, maybe between your things you got to do during the day, maybe between chores, maybe between whatever you're doing during the day, on your lunch break away for 5-10 minutes, go for a little walk a few times a day. It's not going to be a lot in the time of, but if you do this every single day over the course of a week, this will be hours of extra walking that you didn't do before. And it will slowly chip away at that big daily step goal little by little to the point where maybe your work day is over. And now instead of 10,000 steps, which may be your goal, you have 4,000 or 5,000 steps to hit. It makes it a lot less intimidating. From Tunisia, what's going on? Your goal in 2023 is to learn how to cook. What are some meals to start with? Thanks. So keep it simple. Eggs, you can put in whatever you want into eggs, vegetables, I mean, you can put some mushrooms, pepperoni, some chicken sausage, maybe some bacon. Eggs are like the glue, right? You can put whatever you want into the eggs, mix it together, put some seasonings and sauce on it. You'll be golden. It's a high protein, pretty filling meal. That's a very good start. What's my opinion on carb cycling? Um, you can do it if you want to. I don't really see a reason to do it unless you have maybe a big event that you're going to on the weekend, for example. So if you're going to like a work function on Saturday, for example, or Sunday brunch, you may want to lower your carbs for the first 5 days or so and kind of increase them on the weekend to kind of, you know, incorporate the event that you're going to be attending. But besides that, I keep things very flatline. I keep it as flatline as possible because I don't want any kind of peaks and valleys. I want to see a linear progression as far as calories and carbs. And there's really no need to cycle carbs unless there's like an event, or maybe if you're going like a hike or something. Maybe you want to, you know, have a day of high carbs, so you kind of schedule for that. But besides that, there's really no need to do that. How many times can you eat processed food in a balanced diet? As much as you want to. Just know that processed foods are not bad by any means. However, processed foods make it a lot easier to overeat or overconsume calories on, because processed food is made to be extremely tasty. It's delicious. It's easy to eat. It's easy to buy. So all these factors combined into one makes it so much easier for you to overconsume calories. So I would just eat processed food in moderation. But if most of your calories are coming from processed food, it may be a lot more difficult to reach your calorie goals and stay in a calorie deficit, because processed food is made by companies to specifically be as tasty as possible, have the least amount of effort required to eat the food, and they're usually a lot cheaper. So it's made a lot more accessible for a lot of people. So eat it in moderation, but the vast majority of your nutrition, if you're trying to lose weight, should be from whole foods, fruits, vegetables, proteins, dairy, stuff like that. Let's see. Let's see. If you have any more questions, let me know down below. I'm reading everybody's questions. How often do you check the scale in my time of losing weight? At the moment, you don't check too often, as you're afraid of constant checking will negatively impact your drive. So it's like a two-way street, I guess, as far as weighing yourself on the scale. This is my personal, uh, what I personally do is I track my weight every single morning, every single day, because I can directly see the impact of my nutrition from the day before on my weight today. And it helps me get a better relationship with the scale, because I know exactly how my decisions impact the scale. Because sometimes if you weigh yourself, let's say once every 2 weeks or so, maybe you had a very high carb and sodium day the day before your once in 2 weeks weigh in, for example. You may think that you're not making progress. In reality, you did. You probably just had a bit more food the day before. And now you have this occurrence every 2 weeks. You might kind of derail yourself. However, if you want to weigh yourself every day, if you're it could be a healthy or unhealthy thing. If you have a very unhealthy scale relationship, you may not want to do this. But if you want to create a healthier relationship with the scale, maybe weighing yourself once a day will be very helpful, because you will see directly, you know, I had a bigger meal yesterday. Now my weight is up half a pound. And mentally, you know that exactly why the weight went up, because of your decisions the day before. And the more you do this, the lesser the impact of the scale fluctuations will have an effect on your mental well-being. So I would definitely recommend for certain individuals to track their weight every single day. Did I use an app or I just journaled my calories? I use the app. I use MyFitnessPal, but nowadays they have probably like 100 different apps to track your calories. So pick one that it's the most consistent, the most accurate, and just use it as often as you can. Should a teenager be on a diet? Um, Depends. Are you like 17 or 18? You know, it's your body is still growing. If you're especially 13 or 14 or something like that, right? So you want to give your body all the room it needs to grow. So you don't want to deprive yourself, but you also don't want to be extremely overweight during a time period, because that time, I'm speaking from personal experience as well. And if you're overweight or obese during your teenage years, it may be a bit more difficult to grow, especially mentally during those years, because those years are very vital for your growth in the later parts of your life. So it's just better to have a healthy diet during those periods. Not saying be on a diet, but just be more mindful of your nutrition. Still exercise, still go for walks if you want to do that. Ride your bike, go for a swim, but you want to be at a healthy weight so you can experience those years in the best way possible, so you can grow and develop the skills you need to live a life that isn't limited by the things that you or the habits that you endured or the life events that happened because you were super overweight during your teenage years and you couldn't experience certain things. So get the most out of these years by being in a healthy weight. I'm not saying be fit, I'm just saying be in a healthy weight and just manage your diets. You don't have to be on a diet. Diet is just what food you're eating. You don't have to be on keto or anything. Just be in a healthy place with your food and your weight as well. Any suggestions for building muscle at home with little to no equipment? Body weight squats, push-ups, get some workout bands, do some core exercises like leg raises, planks, stuff like that. Bulgarian split squats as well are brutal, but they're very, very effective. You need more fiber. How to get more fiber without blowing out calories? Low carb wraps like low carb tortillas, like the Mission low carb tortillas have like 14 grams of fiber per one tortilla, which is 70 calories. You can also go on Amazon and type in psyllium husk powder. It's PSYLLIUM husk powder. It's essentially 100% fiber. You mix it with water. And the way it works is essentially the second that this powder touches water, it expands to like 10, 20 times its size. So imagine it going into your system. Once it touches water in your body, it's going to expand. And that's 100% fiber. So look into those powders, look into the low carb tortillas. Protein bars have fiber in there as well. And also make sure you're eating a decent amount of fruits and vegetables every day. What do I think of Optivia? I don't like anything that creates a reliance on the supplement or the program that you're on. For example, the clients that I have, like I tell them from day one, like I don't want you to rely on my program or what I tell you to do. I want you to make this be sustainable for you for as long as you choose to, not as long as you're part of the program. So Optivia, whether it's Optivia or there's Isogenics, Herbalife, whatever crap people decide to push down people's throats, most of the people that do these things, they put the weight back on once they stop doing the thing because they're relying on something to get them to lose the weight. On top of that, a lot of these programs essentially create a very steep calorie deficit. And you're relying on powders, you're relying on meal replacements. I mean, they make you have a reliance on the product so that you feel like you have to keep buying into the product in order to see results or maintain your results. And on top of that, if you go on a steep calorie deficit from regular food, you will lose weight. It's just an energy balance. So the steep calorie deficit that they create via their supplements, along with a reliance on the supplements, makes me absolutely dislike it because it creates a reliance and it does not enable somebody to be consistent and sustainable with their weight loss for the vast majority of people. What's the best exercise for belly fat and mom pouch? There is no best exercise. Just focus on a calorie deficit, train your muscle groups accordingly, and you'll be absolutely fine. What's my favorite protein shake? Like the ones that aren't powdered. Premier shakes are probably the best ones on the market right now. Maybe Muscle Milk, but I don't really drink protein shakes that often. I just use powders in my food once in a while. But Premier and Muscle Milk are pretty good. How can you speed up your metabolism? You can speed up your metabolism by not buying into supplements that promise that you will speed up your metabolism. The reason being is that if your heart rate is increased, you're not speeding up your metabolism. It's just your heart rate being increased. How you can actually increase your metabolism is by eating more protein. That would be the number one thing that I would do. And why increasing your protein intake will increase your metabolism is because protein has the highest thermic effect of food. It just means that, like when we're eating food, for example, we're not absorbing all the calories because we got to spend calories to actually break down that food, digest it, and absorb the nutrients. It's not free, right? So we have to spend calories to get calories in. And the amount of calories that the body spends to get calories out of protein is a lot higher than it is with the carbs and fats. It's somewhere around 30%, right? Carbs, it's somewhere around 7%, I believe, and fats is around 3%. So if you're eating more protein, your body has to burn more calories to get the nutrients out of the protein. So if you kept your calories the same, for example, but all of a sudden most of the calories you're still eating mostly come from protein, you will drastically increase your metabolism. Second thing I would do to increase your metabolism is put on more muscle. The more muscle you have, the more calories your body will require to sustain its weight, which means you can eat a bit more. The third thing I would do to increase your metabolism is to incorporate walking, micro walks. Maybe walk to the supermarket from the parking lot and park further away than maybe parking right next to the entryway of the supermarket. Instead of getting your groceries delivered, go shop for your groceries. Get like a few thousand steps in. Clean your house more. Do your laundry more frequently because that all burns calories. Go for a 10-minute walk. That's actually how you increase your metabolism, not this nonsense that they sell it in a pill. That stuff will just drain your wallet and leave you in a no better place than you were before. Let's see. What's up, Alexandra? Let's see. If you can only do 20 to 30-minute workouts at the gym 2 to 3 times a week, what would you focus on to build muscle? Would it be compound movements such as deadlifts? What more? So you have about half an hour, 2 to 3 times a week. I would do a full body workout twice a week minimum. If you get a third day in, I would maybe do a third full body workout because you have a very short, compressed period of time. I would focus on lifting as heavy as possible in the 8 to 12 rep range. I would focus on doing for lower body either squats or leg press. I would do some kind of a shoulder press or a chest press. I would probably stay away from like bicep curls and very small muscle groups just because if you do a pull up or a pull down, you will still get some bicep activation in there and you get more of a bang for your buck. Deadlifts, you can do deadlifts, but they might eat up a lot of your time if you're trying to be very time conscious. So I would do maybe a couple of rows, a vertical pull down or a pull up, and I would do some kind of a machine press or a dumbbell press. But the general overview, I would just keep it to full body workouts 2 times a week at minimum. How can you tell if you have loose skin or remaining stubborn body fat? The only way to know how much loose skin you truly have is to lose as much body fat as possible. Period. There's no other way. Lose as much body fat as possible, and you will see truly how much loose skin you possibly have at that point in time. You're eating 1 meal per day and drinking water with white vinegar. Water with vinegar. I don't know why you're doing that. You realize that you're not as hungry as you used to be and have lost a lot of water weight, bloating. Am I doing okay? So I don't know why you're drinking water with vinegar. That seems very unpleasant to me, pretty gross. As far as eating 1 meal per day, I know a lot of people that eat 1 meal per day, but it's your personal preference. I personally would not eat 1 meal per day because that's essentially like 23 hours of fasting that you're doing. And if you're trying to work out, you're not recovering as optimally as you could be. So if you have at least 2 meals per day, that's already going to be a lot better. So of course you're going to lose a lot of water weight because you're eating a lot less. So, but water weight and bloating is not actually losing fat. I would have at least 3 meals per day. And I would cut out the water with vinegar because vinegar in your water does not do anything extra except maybe, make your face look a little, weird because it's just not the best tasting. So I would not drink water with vinegar. Are you doing okay? It's hard to tell because I'm not really sure what your progress is or how it's all going. Should we eat more food if we are fasting? If you're fasting, the calories that you're eating are the most important things. Whether you want to, fast for 12 hours or 18 hours, just focus on the calories. You're understanding more how important portion control is. Leaving a couple of bites on the plate helps. Portion control is everything, right? Because it helps tremendously to track your food, because you will see exactly the caloric content of whatever it is that you're eating versus maybe what you thought it was prior or previously. Because a glass of wine and a glass of wine is not exactly the same. A glass of wine could be this much or this much, right? It's a huge difference, but if you actually track it, you will see that it's probably hundreds of calories in difference. So tracking your food and being accountable with it is extremely important. Inguinal hernia, zero gym, short walks, losing weight quick. Funny thing about an inguinal hernia is I just found out I have one as well. Supposedly, I need to get an ultrasound, but the doctor said I have one, so I will be out of the gym for about 30 days around the summertime, I think. So I'm not the proudest or happiest about that, but it has to get done. Just want to throw it out there. You have no support system. It is just me with little discipline. I easily talk myself into having that sugary drink / item that I know I don't need. Any suggestions? Start out strong, then fizzle out. If you have no support system, I would definitely suggest either joining a group. Like I have a Facebook group that people post different things all the time for weight loss, fitness, that kind of stuff. You can join there and post every day if you want to. If that helps you out, because it's filled with like-minded people. You can get a coach, not me or anybody else. It's totally up to you. They will help support you and keep you accountable. I would also surround yourself around people that want to see you succeed. A lot of times when we're trying to be healthier or do better, we get a lot of people around us that either talk us down or don't encourage us with positive reinforcement. So you want to surround yourself with people that care about you and want you to succeed, because that will make you feel better and that will help you stay on track a bit better. I would also suggest to not start out doing everything possible. A lot of times when I see people starting out and that end up fizzling out is because they start out doing everything imaginable and they end up getting overwhelmed and burnt out because they did way too much. So start out doing a little bit at a time and slowly compound that over a long period of time. Supplemental hopefully that helps. And if it doesn't, you can message me, you can email me, you can reach me at any platform. Hopefully I can help you. If you want to email me at alexsolomoncoaching@gmail.com. I'll help you out as much as I can. Supplemental vitamins. They're like cheap insurance. We pee out most of the vitamins that we consume, so it's not that important. Let's see. Is 250 minutes of body weight exercises per week enough to lose belly fat? Maybe, maybe not. If you're not in a calorie deficit, you can be doing 800 minutes of body weight workouts and you will not see any kind of fat loss if you're eating way too much. Tips on how to strengthen your weaker side. I like that question. Be that arm or otherwise. At the moment, you're doing the same reps as the other. It's just taking me much longer to get the strength together to do it. One of the best things you can do if one of your arms or any of your sides is weaker is always start your set on the weaker side first. Because mentally, if you give most of your energy on the stronger side first, by the time it comes to actually do your weaker side exercise, you may not give it as much physical and mental energy and focus. So always start out on the weaker side first. That will help you catch up a lot faster. What you can also do is avoid maybe certain barbell or machine exercises that use the same that are not unilateral. So you want to do most exercises that each arm or each leg or each side of your body moves individually. Because if you're doing things at the same time, your weaker side is not going to catch up nearly as much as if you were doing things one side at a time. Where am I that it's evening? It's actually light outside, but it's pretty dark in here. When you're in a high protein plan, do you still eat if you're not hungry to make up the required calories? You don't want to undereat and starve yourself, as well as you don't want to overeat and force feed yourself. Like you don't want to be too you don't want to lean too far in each direction because it's not healthy in either way. I would try to get as close as possible to your calorie goals and see where the day ends. I mean, if you're under eating by or overeating by 1,000 calories, it's not going to be a good thing. But if you're 100 maybe a few hundred calories over or under, I wouldn't stress it. It's not that big of a deal. How do I go about training clients that don't want to count calories? We talk about different ways to actually moderate your food. A lot of times it's portion and plate control, which we talk about. I mean, counting calories isn't for everyone, and nobody's going to do it for the rest of their lives, but it's a good habit to do for at least 3 to 6 months or so, just so you can actually take this habit and your knowledge of doing it every day into the future. So you can actually look at whatever it is that you're eating in the future and have the knowledge and the skill set that you've created from the months of practicing this and know the relative nutritional content of the food you're about to eat. That's the most important thing. I'm not going to count calories for the rest of my life, but I've done it for a long enough period of time to where I can look at any kind of food and know relatively how many calories it has. That will help you stay in control much better. For a vegetarian, what's up, Debbie? Well, for a vegetarian, what percentage carbs, fats, proteins ratio? I don't really worry about too much about ratios. I focus on the calorie goals and roughly trying to aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight. And the carbs and the fats, I just spread them out as well. I mean, as I want them. I don't really stress about them. They're not as important unless you're a very high level athlete or maybe like a marathon runner or something like that. How much water should we be drinking per day? Just drink until you're not thirsty. You don't want to flood yourself with water like people say, oh, a gallon per day. It's a little extra unless you want to drink that much. But you also don't want to underdrink by only having like 2 glasses of water per day. Roughly 6 to 10 glasses is absolutely fine. Hopefully this live is helping people out right now. And if you're getting any kind of value from this live right now, drop a fire emoji down below in the comments below so I can know that it's actually helping somebody out there. Can you trust the body fat percentage number from bathroom scales? Absolutely not. Excuse me. Uh, they're not accurate. If you're holding a bit more water in your system, if you had a bigger meal than usual, the body fat percentage may spike a couple of percent. It doesn't mean, even though you may have lost fat because you had less calories, but your body weighs more because you have more food in your system and more liquids, for example. It's not accurate. The most accurate ways to measure your true body fat percentage, there's a lot of different things out there now, but they're called bod pod. They have dexa scans. They're very intense machines that you either submerge your body into and it gives you like or it sends laser beams up and down your body, kind of like an MRI type machine. And it tells you exactly how much muscle mass you have, how much fat mass, bone mass you have. But the calipers at the gym, the bathroom scales, they're not accurate. It's just like an advanced gimmick, essentially. It's a good idea or reference point. I mean, if you were 35% body fat at a point in time, roughly, and now let's say you use a body fat percentage scale in the bathroom, and 4 months ago it read 35% body fat. Now you do it again 4 months later, and you're 20% body fat. That's a good reference point that you've lost some body fat percentage. It may not be 15%, but it's a good idea to know that you are trending in the right direction. But as far as being very specific with the percentages of body fat lost, it's not accurate enough to give you any kind of accurate measurements. Happy New Year. How do I feel about intermittent fasting? I answered that question already. You can do it if you want to, as long as you're in a calorie deficit. That's the most important thing. Yeah, positivity is definitely the key. I mean, if you have a positive support circle around you, whether it be your partner, your friends, your support group, that's really, really underrated for a lot of people. And I definitely recommend to look into how you can possibly surround yourself with people that want you to win. That's the most important. That's one of the most important things as far as you reaching any kind of goal. Let's see, more questions. How did I address my relationship with food? By tracking my calories. I thought that certain food was bad for me. I thought that certain food was good for me. And it's just not the case. It's about the caloric content. And the more that I tracked my calories, the more that I started to allow myself more of this bad food. And I still lost weight eating the bad food. And I knew that over time, I learned that food is not good or bad. It's just the caloric content of the food and how it makes me feel and the kind of effect it has on my progress. That's how I've, over time healed my food relationship. Do I have advice on how to overcome emotional bored eating? I always turn to junk food when I need comfort, even though I know it's bad for me. One of the things I would do is just completely like don't even bring it in the house. Just keep it outside the house, no, out of sight, out of mind. What I would do is I recommend this for a lot of people is when you're about to eat out of emotion or boredom, I would just break that pattern or that way of thinking. So this habit has been built up over years where you get stressed out, you feel emotional, you reach for a food that's like a comfort food for you. Just break that pattern of thinking. Just pause. Give yourself 30 seconds, 20, 15 seconds, or 2 minutes, whatever you want. Just pause that way of thinking and ask yourself, am I actually hungry? If that's the case, go eat some protein. If you're not hungry, you will realize that you're actually bored or stressed out. Just break that pattern of thinking. Because if you're used to doing or eating out of emotion, you're going to keep doing it because you're thinking the same way. So just break that pattern by just pausing for a few seconds, for a minute or so, and ask yourself the question, am I actually hungry or am I just bored or stressed out? Try that. Or just put yourself out of the situation. Go outside for a 5 minute walk. I can almost guarantee you that if you get, or if you do a 5 minute walk, you're going to end up coming back to the house and not eating because you realize that you're not actually hungry because you break that pattern of thinking. Let's see. If you record your exercise on MyFitnessPal and your calories increase, is that accurate? Absolutely not. I would not track any kind of physical activity on MyFitnessPal because it's inaccurate. It's guesstimating things, and then on top of that, it adds back in the supposed burned calories onto your daily caloric goal, which just makes it more complicated and less accurate. Only use calorie tracking apps to track your calories coming in. Don't worry about the energy expenditure. Focus on the consistency of you doing the exercises throughout the week. Have I experienced with lean bulking since I lost the weight or just maintained or main gained? As far as lean bulking, I mean, it's a term. Just, I mean, I've maintained, I mean, slowly over the years, I build more muscle, a few ounces every year, maybe a pound a year, whatever it is. But slowly I put on weight and I lose a bit of weight during the summertime when it's hot outside. So it's like ups and downs. I lose weight during the summertime, but in the colder months, I bulk up a tiny bit, maybe 20 pounds or so, and try to put on as much muscle as I can. So it's like a constant cycle, but I'm in control of it. So whatever you want to call it, lean gaining, maintaining, or main gaining, whatever terms people decide to use, I'm doing something that will help me put on muscle and lose fat during the summertime. That's plain and simple. Let's see, more questions. Thank you for sharing my journey. You're welcome. I appreciate you being here. Tips on deadlifting and squatting. Usually go to the gym around 2, 3:30 a.m. That's pretty early. So there's not anyone to help spot. Worried about injury with bad form. So I personally do not like spots. I enjoy working out or lifting heavy without a spot. So the best thing that you can do as far as your form on any exercise, as inconvenient and as maybe you may not want to do this, but film yourself. Just put your phone in the corner, face your phone towards you, film yourself doing weight at a very light weight and see what your form is. And film yourself doing a bit heavier weight. Your lighter reps should look as identical as possible toward as compared to your heavier reps. It should be almost exactly the same, just a bit slower. So you just film yourself. People don't like filming themselves at the gym because they're nervous or whatever it is, people judging them. But for your own benefit, look at your form. One of the best things I ever did for myself was record what I'm doing because I would not have seen these changes unless some of these mistakes I was making, unless somebody else was to point them out to me. And nobody's going to point them out to me because they don't really know me. So film yourself. It's one of the best things that you can do. And I tell my clients this all the time. If you're doing something that does not feel the best or your form is off, Film yourself, send it to me. I will give you form correction because that will help you drastically instead of doing it wrong for weeks. Struggling hungry. If you're hungry, focus on high volume eating. How about for people with EDS? Is that eating disorder? Any exercise examples? So the exercise you decide to do, they don't really make a difference if you have an eating disorder. I would just make sure your eating disorder is managed the best way that you can and incorporate any kind of exercise that you can do and that you enjoy. The specifics of the exercises don't matter. What matters most is you just doing them and you being consistent with them, regardless of you having or not having a kind of eating disorder. Thoughts on prolonged fasts such as 75 to 120 hours. That's a very long time. I do not, especially if you're working out, you're potentially losing on a lot of muscle repair by not feeding your body nutrients during a 75-hour to 120-hour fast. That is just way too excessive, in my opinion, and you're not building muscle adequately. And on top of that, what's the likelihood of you doing this for the next 10 years or for the rest of your life? You're probably not going to do that extended periods of fasting. So if you can't do it for the rest of your life, don't do it now. So as far as difference between men and women, such as hormones, well, what hormones are we talking about? No, I don't like people throwing out the word hormones as a blanket statement for somebody doing something versus somebody else not being able to do something. Like what about the hormones? How's it making you feel? I've coached many people with hypothyroidism, PCOS, and it is more difficult to lose weight if you have those issues, but by no means does it make it impossible. It makes it more difficult as well as age. Things get more difficult if you have any of these things, or if you're older, it does not make it impossible. One of my oldest clients was a 71, I believe. And if you look at my stories, I posted a client today, and she is 57, I believe. She lost 18 pounds in the last 3 months. Completely changed the way she looks, the way she feels. No more knee pain. Susan, she absolutely crushed it. Look at my Instagram or Facebook stories, you will see it. But just because things are more difficult does not make it. It's just a bump in the road. It's not a roadblock. It's a big, big difference. Thanks for answering my lean bulking question. You got a solid amount of muscle mass. Thank you. Cool to know that you gain loss around 20 pounds per year rather than keeping it. Yeah, my weight does not stay the same. I usually am around 245 to around 240 pounds. The leanest I get is 230 to 220, like about 230 or so. So it fluctuates 15 to 20 pounds. I don't like looking fluffy, but it comes with the territory. And yeah, I mean, my weight fluctuates throughout the year, but not by too much. Okay, so EDS is a muscular system disorder of weakening. So if you have any kind of a disorder that affects your muscle, how they work, how they operate, how kind of exercises that you can do, I would talk to a professional or somebody, maybe a PT, like a physical therapist, and break down the exact exercises that you can't do and just don't even touch them. There are no specific exercises that you have to do in order to see any kind of results. They all work. It's about you just doing the ones that are good enough for long enough so you can see as much progress as you can over a long period of time. There are no required exercises. Yeah, squatting, bench pressing, deadlifting is awesome, is good, but it by no means makes it a requirement. That's what I'm trying to say. How do you find my Instagram? It's just type in Alex Solomon on Instagram and you will find me. Let's see. Thank you, Marianne. I appreciate that. If anybody wants to absolutely crush the 2023 goals, if you're watching me on any kind of platform, type 2023 down below in the comments or click the link in my bio, fill out that form. I'll reach out to you if you want to lose weight and just feel your best and stop spinning your wheels in place. I would love to help you out any way that I can. And hopefully you got value from this video. And I want to do more of these later on. So hopefully this provides you with some kind of value. I appreciate everybody for being here. And I'll see you next time. Enjoy your weekend.